Hello everyone. Before we start today's video, if you could all do me a solid and lightly tap the like button, perhaps share the video about and leave a comment. If you are not subscribed, subscribe as well. It would greatly help this channel. Thank you very much. Hello everyone, welcome back to a Megon 2 Electric Boogaloo. Today I want to talk about mollycoddling. You know, the thing that happens all the time now because everything has to have some form of trigger warning in place. Hell, even I've had to introduce it to some videos because people really do lack a certain amount of constitution. The correct word to describe those kinds of people are pussies. Of course, in some instances I can fully understand and appreciate the context and don't want to cause any offense. Please don't unsubscribe. But for the sake of what we're going to talk about today, we're going to focus heavily on academia, the education system, where as you get older and older, yes, it gets more and more as if you're still in preschool, where everything has to be approved by the teacher. The curriculum must reflect not just inclusive and diverse, but it must also ensure that the feelings of the individual, the student, are respected. So if it runs contrary to what you're being taught in lessons, much like when you were young and certain faiths were allowed to leave the assembly when hymns were sung, this applies as well. If you remember that in school, you know what I'm talking about. We must respect everyone of differing ideals, faiths, creeds, because academia, like science, knows the bloody difference between what is, of course, right and wrong. And what is wrong is not what's taught in schools, because what is taught in schools is 100% up for debate. If at any point I required a sarcasm sign for that, you are the person, the type anyway, that I am dunking on. Congratulations, you're a part of my video. Ever since I started on YouTube, I've noticed there has been a very swift change in how universities more notably have changed their styles. How they've had to appear more, they claim, inclusive and progressive, but in doing so have sought to erase the past, which is somewhat ironic for certain universities in the United Kingdom have a very rich historical culture. So when you are, for example, a history student and you go to that university and then decide, but I don't like this history, so I want to remove its presence from this university, you are attempting to erase it. As everyone with a functioning brain cell, so not a university student, knows, if you seek to erase the past, you risk repeating it. Like a scratched DVD, or a dog knowing it shouldn't put that food in its mouth because it will make it scratch its arse on a carpet, only to repeatedly do it and leave marks on the carpet. Which I guess in this instance means that university students over the past 7 years are dogs' anuses. Itchy dogs' anuses. As this mollycoddling has escalated at universities, we have seen more and more be removed from presence because we don't want to run the risk of indoctrinating children into far-right ideologies or into accepting and or tolerating the dreaded racism, which they believe they can truly stamp out, but anyone else, again with a functioning brain cell, so not a university student, knows that's not possible. You just want to get rid of the westernized version of it. Good luck. It's always going to exist. Always. Because somebody somewhere will always take offense at something and somebody somewhere will always claim it's racism. But the institutions of racism, institutionalized, it's systemic. We need to tear down the structures of power. These arguments become somewhat asinine exceedingly fast. And it is expedited when it is regurgitated, repeated, rinsed, and again repeated by the same person with no functioning brain cells. So why does a Megon bring all this to you? Why does he rant for 4 minutes? Yeah, rant for 4 minutes about the current state of education. Well, because of this article, universities are accused of mollycoddling and patronizing students as books are removed from reading lists over challenging content, and trigger warnings are slapped on 1,000 texts, including works by Dickens, Shakespeare, and Chaucer. 3 absolute legends. And they got trigger warnings because of challenging content? The problem you guys have is, the students that have said this now is, you were dug into a hole that you had no part in. You were raised up, given your chance to go into further education, and you have to live through the mess that was created by those that came before. Because that normally happens, doesn't it? Every generation, there's always a switch. Now we do accept some things from the past, things that might well work as opinions start to diverge. It makes sense. It's like children and parents. Typically, children vote different to their parents. Insert the plethora of comments now saying, but I vote like my parents and we love each other. Thank you for being that kind of person. I really appreciate you disproving the point. You know what I'm talking about, don't be a prick. It's quite common for these generational issues to occur regardless. So university students say they feel patronised and mollycoddled. An investigation has revealed at least 10 institutions, including 3 from the elite Russell Group, have either withdrawn books or made them optional in case they harm or offend undergraduates. No doubt because those universities in question are sick and tired of watching their campuses be annihilated by a bunch of morons who won't have children, but will have all the cats. Elizabeth McGregor, 22, studies a Beginning the Novel module at the University of Chavi, which no longer includes the Underground Railroad, a widely acclaimed book about slavery that has been lauded by the likes of Barack Obama and Oprah Winfrey. It was removed from the list partly because of its graphic description of violence and abuse of slavery. I'm sorry if your feelings are hurt, but if you want to learn about the past and truly understand it, you need to be able to feel it as well. Reading words is one thing. Understanding just how important it is another. If you can't handle that, and you're one of the twats that did this, you should be ashamed of yourself. Oh, but the feelings, I'm protecting them, I'm doing them a favour. I have PTSD because of words in a book. Might I recommend instead then to perhaps make the book more palatable to you, prefacing the book title with Harry Potter and the Underground Railroad. Written, of course, not by J.K. Rowling, because she's a TERF, everyone. So we'll instead say it's written by K.J. Lingro. How's that? Now, Elizabeth then told The Times, "We've been told a few times that we can choose whether or not to read texts. Often when the themes are about race, slavery, or gender, they think we are children and are coddling us. My view on this is a lot simpler. The book shouldn't be optional. Unless you are given multiple books to possibly assess, it should not be optional. If it's a part of your syllabus, you bloody well read the book. You bloody well learn about it, and the university is not meant to be there to mollycoddle anyone. This is a form of censorship, and I cannot support that. I don't think anyone in a good mind can. Why? Because if you start to censor books, you're going to find a very short list of things that you can learn about history from, without making it look like you're tokenizing the person who will undoubtedly be asked to talk about slavery. Because remember everyone, white Europeans never went through that, so they can never understand it. Now, the university has said that the book had only been pulled from just one reading list, because another book was viewed as better suited to the learning aims. Oh, what a nebulous way of saying, but we need to protect your feelings, we don't want to get sued. This is a business, everyone, we're here to make money. Please, come here, please. They also said that we find it helpful and considerate to tell students about the issues that might come up in books or plays they are reading. It's not like they're going to open the book and be surprised. If they are, chances are they're reading the wrong one, or they themselves are reading or learning about the wrong subject. Another key thing the university seems to have overlooked here is if they are being exposed to slavery discussions and racism through other novels and works of literature as well, they already know this is going to get dark really fast.